Hello YouTube friends. I am home alone today, and so silly me, I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and show you the chores that I have to do because Patience isn't here. She went to see some family, and she does a lot around here, and I really appreciate her. So I'm going to go ahead and show you feeding the chickens this morning. That way it'll be a good way to give you an update on what they're looking like. So we got the meat birds, we've got the hens laying eggs, and we've got the chick Orpingtons coming up so we have more hen layers. So let's get going. All right, one of my mottos is to work smarter, not harder. So I am going to go get the tractor. Okay, I don't actually need the tractor to do the first part of the job. I'm going to take care of the Orpingtons first. They live out here in our coop. We have the hen laying eggs, egg laying hens. There we go. We have the egg laying hens on the top. So I am going to open the door, and they're probably going to jump right out here. They're not happy because they've been cooped up for too long. Got kind of a late start this morning. Watch out, girls. You're okay. Let's get their feed in here, and they will come out all on their own. And we got the chicks on the bottom. I think they're about 8 or 9 weeks old now. The hens are happy to go. And they will go off and start their day. It's possible we already have an egg. Let's check to see if we have any eggs. No eggs in there. No eggs in there. All right, so we'll probably get 4 eggs today. I think the last 2 days we only got 3 eggs each day, so that means we're probably due for 4 eggs again. And she already come back because there's nothing interesting out there, or she thought maybe I was going to give her something interesting in here. Let's see here. We got a little water, we got a little food. All right, we'll just leave those guys alone for now. Take care of them in a couple hours. I don't know why we bother putting this up, but we'll do that. Oh. We got 3 roosters and 3 hens down here. There's 2 roosters and a hen, and then the other rooster's right there, and then 2 more hens right here. Oh, I missed it. The one was actually standing on the water container. So the plan is, once the meat birds are done in the chicken tractor, we will transition these 6 Orpington chicks into the chicken tractor until they are big enough to be put with the egg laying hens. There, I said it right that time. And at that point, we will pick the best rooster that we think is the least aggressive, I guess is the right way to say it. That way they won't hopefully attack our children or chase them around like the other roosters were. As soon as we start seeing the roosters follow the kids around and kind of chase them off, we just get rid of them, because there's no sense to me to have a rooster that's going to attack a child. It's not worth the benefit to me. We do have a slight risk here from hawks and bald eagles, and so we do want to have a rooster if it will be good with my children. So that's the point with that. Let's grab the tractor and the feed for the meat birds, because they're going to be really hungry, and then let's get a bucket of water. I want to carry a bucket of water up there. They drink a lot of water. I'm sure they're probably... Speaking of, these hens right here, they love to come out and drink from these puddles. Probably scared them off now. They must think that that rainwater sitting in that puddle tastes better than the water we give them out of the creek. We'll see. All right, so let's get a bucket and the tractor, and we'll drive down to the creek and fill up a 5-gallon pail of water to take up to the meat birds. All right, so here are our meat birds. We purchased 20 of them. They gave us 21 at the store. One of them, they dropped on the ground. So I'm not sure if they counted wrong or gave us an extra one because that they put it in the box and we didn't want to say no, don't give us that one. We didn't realize at the time that they maybe gave us an extra one on purpose, but that seems like what they did. We do have one that has an issue with a leg, so maybe that's the one they dropped on the floor. We don't know, but otherwise they're looking pretty good. They are hungry, so I'm gonna feed them. Let's get doing that. Okay, now I'm going to fill up their water. We actually keep 2 waterers in there for them. And then this other bucket over here, it is water, but they don't like to use very much. So that water in there still has a little bit of water in it. So I will fill this one up. And then I'll put the rest of the water in here, and that way maybe next time I don't have to go bring water to them. It'll just still be here. Sounds good to me. And if they choose, they can always get water out of this, kind of like a backup water. So here you can see the one that has the bad leg. It doesn't stand up very good, but it can move around just enough to get to the food and the water. And you can see he's already a little bit smaller than the rest. So funny story, we use this stick here to prop the door open because on the hill like this it'll swing and sometimes latch all on its own. So yesterday I had to feed them last night after work, and Patience was already gone, and without thinking about it I accidentally went in there. The door swung shut on me. Fortunately our neighbor was already down here, and he let me out very promptly, so best neighbor ever. But I gotta remember that one. I would have had to just kick it open and then repair it. So these are our meat birds. They are, well, we got them on, so I think they're 5 weeks old now, 4 or 5 weeks. something like that. We're planning on butchering them around 8 weeks. It just might depend on when our butcher is available. We found a gentleman that's willing to butcher them for us for rather cheap, and it turns out to be, at this point, more cost effective to pay to have them butchered than to purchase the equipment, because I'm certainly not going to butcher them without a plucker, an automatic plucker, and this just saves us a lot of time and energy, and the price that we're paying is very reasonable to have that done. I think we'd have to butcher like 200 birds before we saved enough money to pay for a plucker right now, and I guess that's just probably not in the budget at the moment. It is something we like to do. We like to do as much of it as we can, but we certainly trust, where we're taking the chickens to get butchered. Okay, just one more thing I want to mention about the chicken tractor. 20 meat birds are making a lot of waste. Here's what the grass looks like without the chickens being on it. And this is 24 hours, so you're looking at about one section of the chicken tractor right there. Here's 48 hours ago. Here's 72 hours ago. So that's 3 days. Here's 4 days ago. Here's 5 days ago. And you can see it just keeps getting better and better. We started about here 8 days ago. So you can still see it in there, but it has rained a couple times. And I know it's not great for fertilizer right now. It's probably actually going to kill off some of the grass because it's fresh compost from chickens. It does need to have some changes to it before it's good for anything, and that's the other reason we're doing it out here. So the plan would be to run them up and down our grass out here this year, and then next year to plant something in the strip where all this fertilizer will be, and it'll be good for next year. The rain will wash it in, and it'll have time to break down to be useful to the plants and not burn them out. I think it's nitrogen. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure about the chemical properties of how all that works. I just know that chicken compost takes some time before it's usable in the garden. But rabbit compost does not. Wish we had some rabbit compost. That'd be nice. All right, on to the next thing. Okay, so school is out. It is summertime for me, and we have a butcher date for the chickens. So we're going to go and move them this morning as we normally do every day, except for today we're going to slide over and come the other direction. But we move them once or twice a day. We're going to go show that, and we'll talk a little bit about them and show you the path that we've been on to get this far. Okay, so along with butchering our chickens, we have worked out a deal with the place where we're going to have the family we're going to have the chickens butchered at, that they will purchase 2 of our roosters. They sell them to other people for meat, that they want those roosters. And so we're going to give the biggest one and the smallest one. We're going to try and keep the medium one for us. He seems like the best well-mannered one. And we're going to put him up in the chicken tractor then after the meat birds are gone. And that way we can go in there with them and try and get them acclimated to us with the hens. We have 3 hens and we have 3 roosters. The smallest rooster here is kind of a little wild, so we definitely want to get rid of him. And then the biggest rooster is a little bit too pushy, so we're going to try and keep the medium one.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move the meat birds this morning. I've been starting to move them twice a day because they just poop a lot. This time is a little bit different though, because we're going to be heading back down towards the cabin. We're as far up the road as we want to go, so we're heading back down. So Steve's going to help us move the tractor and get it in position. Usually the boys help me move the chicken tractor during the day, but now we need Steve's help. So let's get going. Okay, they love when we move them to new grass. They like to chill in the new grass, the clean grass, and then they mess it all up and then we have to move them again, but they like the clean grass. Okay, so that went really well. Moving them over with the tractor was a breeze. This chicken tractor is really heavy, so we would never be able to move it on our own, and then with the tractor it went great. Okay, so you can kind of maybe see the comparison between how small he is compared to the average size birds that we have in here. Okay, so story time here. This little guy here, about 4 or 5 weeks old, I came out to the coop and he was having a really rough time. He was on his side. He wasn't getting up to eat or drink at the time. And so I kind of thought maybe we were just gonna lose a bird. I brought him inside and put him in a tub just so that the others weren't pecking at him and walking all over him. And he was not really moving a lot. If I put the food under him, he would eat, or give him water, he would drink, but he just wasn't really moving. After a few days, he was kind of just flopping around, and we could kind of tell that something was wrong with his leg, what it looked like. And in the store, when we picked these birds up at the local co-op, we had a bird actually get dropped when they were being loaded into the box. And we were kind of wondering at this point if maybe this bird wasn't that particular bird that had gotten dropped and maybe had gotten injured. And as it got bigger, the injury kind of came to a head. And then we finally started noticing it. As a little chick, we didn't see anything wrong with any of the birds until this one started showing signs of having trouble walking. So we kept him inside in the tub for, I think it was almost a week, and he could stand on his feet but not really walk very well, and so we decided to bring him back out here, and he's doing okay. I mean, he comes up and eats and drinks, and he does all the things that the chickens need to do. He just doesn't get around as well as the others, but he's a little bit small because he wasn't eating a whole lot there for a few days, but he still is going to be a probably decent sized bird. So that is the story of our potentially injured chicken. Okay, so we picked up 21 meat birds from our local co-op beginning of April, right around Easter, and so they're almost 8 weeks old now. The time of year is definitely something to consider when you're getting meat birds, because with our setup anyways, we don't have anywhere really good for them to stay out of the weather except for in our cabin. So they stayed in the cabin for almost 4 weeks until we thought it was warm enough for them to be out in the coop. Obviously everybody has a different setup, and so you can maybe not worry about when you pick up meat birds and what time of year you get them, but for us we had to consider when to get the meat birds and weather wise and all of those factors. When we do meat birds again, we're definitely going to have to reconsider the time of year, because April and the beginning of May was way too cold for them to be out, which is why they had to be in the cabin for as long as they were. And now, beginning of June, it's been 85 degrees or warmer, and so it's actually getting a little bit too warm, maybe not too warm, but we definitely are making sure that they stay watered and cool at this time of year. So when you consider when to get meat birds, you definitely have to think about the weather and maybe just where you're able to keep them during the cold time and then the warm time as well, while you're waiting those 8 to 9 weeks for butchering. Okay, so these birds are about 8 weeks old, and we do have a day scheduled for them to be butchered by a local Amish family that is nearby. We have decided that it is actually more cost efficient to pay somebody to do it than to get the equipment to butcher them ourselves. We obviously don't mind not having to do that work either, but we've decided we're going to support the local business and have them butcher the birds for us and forego getting the equipment that we would want to use in order to butcher them. Okay, so one thing I was not anticipating or made aware of is how much these birds poop. Can I say poop? I don't know, but they are really rather disgusting. We started out by moving the tractor once a day when they were younger, and now as they are bigger, the last couple weeks, we've been moving the tractor twice a day. The ground is very gross. There is just no other word to describe how much these chickens poop and make a mess. Okay, so let's talk about the chicken tractor and how well it has been working. A couple of things that we have found that doesn't work as well as we were hoping, but it still does its job. One time when we were moving the tractor, we used the forks instead of the bucket, and we actually cracked a board down here, and so we had to put a secondary board on the front there. So we kind of learned the hard way not to move it, not to push it with the forks. Not a big deal, but it did happen. The other thing is we really like this style lock. We use it on the other chicken coop, and we like it. The only thing that we didn't consider when we picked this lock was that when I go in, if I don't block the door open, then I potentially would get stuck in here and no way to get out. Thanks, Isaiah. So I just use a stick here, block it open. Because we are kind of in an open field here, the wind can come up, and I've had the door almost shut behind me while I was in there. So we definitely have to kind of be aware of that and make sure we don't get locked in there. Otherwise, you'll be in there for a while. So. Okay, so obviously we built this tractor with things that we had available to us and on the property, and so we maybe didn't have necessarily the correct materials to use, but we used what we had. With the tractor, moving the chicken tractor, there's no issues with how heavy it ended up being. We also had the tin on hand, and though it does tend to get warm, or has in the last couple days warm under that tin, there is a really nice breeze out here in the open, and so the birds seem like they have been handling the heat just fine. Okay, so originally we had put in this eaves trough as a feeder over here, and as the birds got bigger, there wasn't room enough for them to line up all over here, and so then I went ahead and put in just another smaller piece over here just to give them a little bit more space so they're not jumping on each other and so crowded when they are eating. Okay, something else I wanted to mention is predators, and I know that's always a concern when you have chickens, meat birds or any other kind of chicken, that there's always a potential of predators getting to your birds, and we thankfully haven't had to deal with that. We have not had any problems with predators. I can't really answer the question of why we haven't. I don't know if it's the open field that keeps them at bay. They don't want to come out here in the open. I know it's not necessarily the way we built the coop, because if a predator wanted to get in here, they could probably figure out how to do it. But we thankfully have not had any predators, had any issues as of this point. Okay, so these are our new 6 buff Orpington chicks that we got. How old are they now?
They're 12 weeks.
12 weeks old. And we have 3 roosters and 3 hens. And we only want to end up with 1 rooster. So we're going to grab 2 of the roosters out and take them along with us.
Okay, and we'll go and we'll put, we'll split the meat birds up and take them to the butcher.
All right, so today is butcher day. We're gonna get these meat birds loaded up and get on our way.
We're gonna put 9 in the first one.
What? All right, here we go.
Back up, Isaiah. Stand over here and video us getting. Did you get the last one coming out of here?
Yes.
Do it from a different angle then, buddy.
Do it from over here then.
Oh, okay.
Through the fence.
I can see the hole. That's awesome.
Here.
Ready? Let's break.
Yep.
Ready?
No, this one's gonna stick. I gotta watch out. Watch out, buddy. Okay, down. I don't think he's stuck, is he? There's a big hole there. Big handle.
Okay, this one in first. A lot of poultry.
We're stuck on the mat. Yeah. Okay, so we saved all the carcasses to use to make chicken broth, and so I'm working on one batch now. We'll probably do it in stages because it'd be a lot to do at one time. So working on that. We averaged around 5 pounds a bird. The little injured guy, he was about 3.5 pounds, so still a decent size, but so he was a lot smaller than the rest. But so we're happy with that. At least I am. 5-6 pound birds is decent. So I guess for now, that's that. So just a quick update on the chicken tractor since I recorded the last video. Steve noticed I mentioned how we really like this lock and how we easily can get stuck in there, and it has been a concern since we built this, and he went ahead and fixed that problem. So I'll show you that.
Chickens are pecking my pants.
So now we can't get stuck inside. We just pull this wire here. So, okay, so if any of you were concerned, now we are not going to get stuck in here, or at least not as easily. So there you go.